Can I ask another question?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. It's okay. I can ask her.
Okay. I was listening to one of the old teaching you had. You said, if I tell you the truth, a lot of you will suicide. Why don't you tell us the truth? Because the people who are supposed to suicide, let them suicide. Even if I have to suicide, so be it. So we're gonna have less population to deal with.
I have spoken the truth. The ears has not heard.
Okay, so you have told the truth. So that okay. So I understand. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Keshe?
Yes.
Yes, I wanted to ask you a question about the salts of the body. And
can you say who you are and where you're from?
Oh,
first,
sorry.
please?
This is Stephen from California.
Yes, Stephen. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I had a question about the salts. You said there was roughly 12 salts of the body.
This is what we hear by the scientists in the world of homeopathy.
And I was wondering, go ahead. Sorry.
Let me explain. What is a salt? Explain it not in a chemistry level, explain it in an energy level. What is alkaline? What is acidic?
Alkaline is a gravitation, right?
Yes.
The gravitational fields.
And acidic is magnetical.
Magnetical.
So how do you go from magnetical to gravitational? When you talk about the salt, it means it's not acidic. Because if it was acid, it would have been another side. So the salt is an intermediary for creation of alkaline level. If you look, when we work with all the CO2, zinc oxide and the rest, what you get is alkaline. So when you create salts of different strength or different mixture, does it give us the alkalineness in respect to the matter present, or does it give us acidic? So in the mixture of the body of the man, if it was acidic, it becomes an energy source. When it's alkaline, it becomes creation of physicality. When you have alkaline condition environment, which what you call the salt condition, you create the gases. You bring it down, you bring it to itself to be. Even when you produce CH3, the environment of CH3 has levels of alkalines in it. So when we talk about the 12 salts, in fact, every cell, every part of the body of the man has a different mixture salt that allows the tissue to be soft, to be hard, to be flexible. It's not just 12. This is the understanding or the way which in the path of homeopathy knowledge, the science of what I call the prophets, all the sciences are prophets of God in a way because they shared knowledge with us, that it helps us. The one who shares knowledge for advancement of humanity or whatever is a messenger. So when you speak about alkalineness or acidic, you have to understand alkalineness means absorbing. So when you speak about the salt, is constructing that absorption in what shape would it stand. The ratio of the alkalineness. Then what you bring together, which kind of alkalineness environment you bring together that you can bring the matters to each other. Why do you use alkaline? Why do you use salt? Because you create a gravitational field point. In reality, every organ of you, if you look, has its own, what they call salt, or its own alkalineness. Otherwise, it will not exist. in the presence of the same material, that alkalineness shows itself in the matter state of it. Our body, and the only point which we use acidic, which means the radiation of the field, is in our stomach. More or less, it's the only place. One radius and the rest take from it due to the alkalineness or the salt environment they create. So understand the process, then you don't need to look for the name. And then when you look at different textures of the same thing, then you have to understand different salt environment or solidification environment. You call it saltiness, I call it solidification, has been created. Cut a liver and see the texture is all the same but slightly different places. But in it, there are pipes. So that pipe to be created needs a slightly different salt condition than the environment of the other tissues of the kidney. Then you see the gaps in it. When you look at the pipes, the hollowness of veins in the kidney, don't look at it just hollowness. Imagine inside a man what condition has to be created that creates this openness. And then the dimension of this openness decides what's going to be filtered. If you look at the kidney and the lung, it's exactly the same structure. One cleans up the air, one cleans up the blood. Otherwise, the structure is exactly the same. Look at the structure of the liver. Liver has different salts combination in every point that one can hold to the calcium, one can hold into the zinc, and one. The biggest bank of salt, what I call solidity, or keeping in the condition of the gans, is the liver. It's not just one, it's all of it. So understand the terminology. Acidity is the condition created for giving out to release. Alkalineness is absorption, gravitational. But for alkalineness, for it to gravitational, or for acidic, you need the salt condition. Even in acidic, there is a salt condition. It's not just all in alkalineness. How do you produce CH3 if there wasn't a certain amount of salt in that position? It's in the same cup. It's the ratio of the environmental fields which decides what the salt content is going to be and how it be. You take the copper plate, you take the zinc plate out, you're producing CO2, you put the zinc oxide, what do you call it, carbonized plate in, and now you get different material. Because the iron inside it has a field strength which dictates it. It's the same salinity. But there you produce energy, there you take energy away. So you can, and the dimension and the strength of the salinity dictates the tissue, what kind of tissue you create. So,
because today on the radio you mentioned a zinc nano-coated zinc plate and a non-coated zinc plate. Was that a heavier zinc oxide that would be produced if you used a magnesium salt?
Yes, you produce different zinc. Yes.
So that was the heavier zinc that you talked about, as opposed to the nano copper plate and a zinc.
No. The understanding has to be clear. When you nano coat zinc plate, you create a freer field strength that it can go further. When you have if you put two zinc plates together in the salt, yeah, the field is not free, it's a molecular. When you nanocoat one, now you freed 30, 40, 50,000 layer further than it is that you open the expansion of the fields. Now it reaches 20 meter. Before, as a molecular structure, only reached 2 meter. You understand? So when you put a nano-coated material, you expand the fields. That's all you do. So when you put a nano-coated zinc with a zinc, now you dictate, this is what I want. This is a magnetic field I want. This is what I keep on saying in all the teachings. Man, for the first time, has managed to make the magnet of any entity. This is what you are doing. You create a free plasmatic magnetic field of the zinc. Now I can pull. What does it do? It pulls from the other plate which is not nano-coated. And as it come towards it to find its balance, now in atomic molecular structure comes in touch with the oxygen, it gets zinc oxide at the bottom. Go back to all the teaching which we've done. We keep on saying, now maybe you understand. Man's knowledge now is that you can create magnet for anything. It's not that you're going to go create a magnet. Now you can free the magnet, which is the atomic structure, molecular structure, into atomic, that now the field expands. This is your magnet. And what do? The other plate has zinc on it. Now it says, come darling, I can take you. And as it comes, separates atomic by atomic with the pull of the field on this side, in the passage to the wall on the nano-coated side, it becomes in touch with this oxygen which is coming at the gas level from the upper atmosphere of the plate or the liquid. It becomes zinc oxide. It finds stability, it gets heavy. It cannot carry on. Now is something else. So it lands to the bottom. That's why you get the zinc oxide. This is what the true knowledge is. This is when I tell you, we have now the knowledge you can make magnets of anything. You just don't go and make a magnet of it. You free the plasma of it. Now it has attraction field further distance. Now if you take that CO2 or zinc oxide at the bottom of it and you put it in another container and then another zinc, now you can create the zinc which is within the atmosphere of the Earth, coming from outside the planet. If you try in United States and put a zinc nano ratio of 2:1 and say, I'm not producing anything. And then the guy in Saudi Arabia, Kashmir, says, I'm producing a lot of zinc here. It's a very good system I found. Because there is no zinc in the environment of where you are. Because now when you produce GANs of plasma of the zinc, it has to come from the universe. It's the most purest. It doesn't come from the matter state. Now it's the same as the amino acid. That's what you need for your systems when you deal with the health section. Understand the process. When you want to produce the GANs of, let's say, zinc oxide, or the GANs of the zinc, and you want to use it for medical application, go back to understanding where did the life of the man come from? From the seas. You need the salinity of the oceans. That's the time when you use seawater. The zinc oxide which you collect is the condition where your life started. It fits into your body immediately. Anytime you use it, any dynamic course, it just flicks in. Because don't forget, the oceans themselves have already converted some. You don't need when you're trying to make the GANs of the zinc oxide for the health application, don't go to your tap and don't buy still water. There is nothing in there. Then it's the pure fields you get, and what you produce at the bottom is what is available above you. It's the CO2 game. then that zinc is the pure zinc in respect to the amino acid above it, and then you produce what you're made of. But if you want to make the pure zinc oxide for the health applications, especially in the dynamic course, make your gas of CO2 or zinc oxide, ratio you decide, then to be in the environment where it carries the salts of the life, because don't forget, the waters of the lakes and waters of the oceans create life of the kidney and everything, every second of life. The feeders of the universe are part of the earth for physicality. So this is the time when you can use seawater, but don't add anything to it. Just watch what zinc you collect at the bottom. And that zinc which you collect, if it's in the environment of the place where you are, that is what you need to use in your dynamic course, because it's of the right strength. It comes from the origin of the creation where you come. Salinity is correct. The content of the physicality is correct, because in your body you have all the copper, you have magnesium, you have everything floating, but you create only zinc for neurosystem. In the water of the ocean and the sea you brought in, it's the same. It's a very near similar condition of life. But now you only emphasize, I have a magnet for zinc, I don't want anything else. And then you create a magnetic field of zinc. And if you get very little, that's all is available in that environment you are. You can take the same pot and go to Saudi Arabia, it just showers down. So it's got a better system than me. It means you never understood what you're doing. Next question.
Just one other quick question. The nanomaterial that comes off of the nano-coated copper plate, it's like a black fluffy material. I captured that and I put it in a mason jar and let it sit, and it keeps producing a gas. Even though it's completely under liquid, it just keeps producing a gas coming from the bottom. So if I move it a little bit, gas bubbles come up, and I didn't know if that's CO2 or it's hydrogen or it's helium. Have you any? I'm sorry?
It's oxygen. When you have a copper and when you see the release of these gases, it means now at the bottom of your plate or your jar, you are producing pure copper nanomaterial. Because the CO2 gas is losing its oxygen due to a magnetic gravitational field which is created in the area. And as it releases this oxygen, now what you're left is pure copper in the nano state, in the gaseous state of nano.
And it produces that infinitely? The oxygen?
Don't forget, when you see this, you see as a little bit layer is billions of them down there, huh? Go back to avocado number 1 point. What's it? 1 point? I even forgot what avocado number is. The number of molecules per kilogram, per gram of hydrogen. 6.2 times
10 to the 23rd, 6.023 times 10 to the 23rd, something
so
like that.
When you have a gram of it, you can see how many, so you can expect how many bubbles to come up.
Because if I seal the top, it actually pressurizes the whole mason jar too.
Yes, because it's there. When you created the nanomaterial, you didn't create a nano only, you have created CO2 of it. And now, due to the layers, the gases released. This is what happens in decomposition on the planet itself. When we decompose, we explode. You know, in Italy, they put you in a coffin and they put you in a concrete block in the wall. I asked the question, what happened when you explode? It says the wall reinforced. They can take the explosion of the body. Because now we go back to nano, the gases are released.